Mark Skaar on the Skaar Kaard on 103.7 The Fox. Happy to welcome back Eric Fraser, guitarist from Corvus Lore. Eric, how are you?
Hey, Mark. Really glad to be talking with you.
The new album, Lucida, we were talking about it last time you were on. It's out now, and congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. We've been really excited about the response we've been getting and just hearing different songs that people are kind of gravitating towards. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you acknowledging Lucida's release.
I just think you can tell within the songs, Eric, that there's a lot of love and attention to detail that went into all this.
There was, for sure. And in fact, a lot of it came down to working with Tim Narducci. Actually, we laid out 8 songs to him initially, and he was pretty pleased with the initial structure, gave us some tips on, certain songs where he heard maybe a drum beat attacking a certain way or, repeating a certain part of a song. And then when we finished showing him the 8, he asked if we had any more, and we had a few more, and we played him the next strongest song we had, which was called Seventh Sense. He thought we were stupid for not even thinking we were going to include that as part of the 9-pack. So, yeah, it's been a great process. Thank you.
It's interesting, the little nuances that people have no idea that a band goes through, and you kind of alluded to that. And also having a second set of eyes with Tim Narducci, who is your producer and actually is the founder of your label, Valley of Fire.
Yeah, and with Tim, not only do you get his musical perspective, him being in The Watchers and the tribute bands that he does, but he's produced so many other great bands that we wholeheartedly trust his perspective, not only in just how the songs are structured, but also in the production. Tim really poured his heart onto every track, and thankfully for us, just gave our project kind of the diligence it needed, and so we're immensely grateful for Tim and for Valley of Fire.
Talking to Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore, and if you don't mind, I'd like to go through it track by track. 9 songs, starting with Romantic Traffic, which was the current video and single the last time we spoke, and of course got the video treatment and kicks off things in a rockin' style.
Yeah, Romantic Traffic we felt was the best song to kick off the album, especially even just from the lyrical content. Ryan's first line is "Lights flicker on the headline, 1 ticket for the show," and we thought, okay, that to us, the energy's right, and from a thematic standpoint, seemed like a good way to kick off the album. Romantic Traffic was our second video, and it's up on our website, so everybody please go check it out.
Tiger Lily Rumble, one of my favorite of the newer songs that I hadn't heard yet. Just extremely tasty.
Oh, interesting. That song is written primarily by Ryan Jones, our lead singer and rhythm guitar player. And of the 9 songs, I'd say that's probably the most, I guess you'd say, kind of more on the pop edge. And Ryan gives kind of almost like a David Bowie-esque type vocal delivery. And I will say for that song, it's my wife's favorite track on the album.
Oh, well, there you go. Great minds think alike. Next up is Splinter, and it's got a nice stomp and groove to it.
Yeah, Splinter. It initially started out as Splinter in the Gray, and then we ended up shortening the title. And that one holds a place in my heart just because of how kind of bombastic it is. In its simplicity as well, because that opening riff to the song is really just 2 guitars left and right, and that's just a testament to Tim Narducci's production on how to record great rock guitars.
Talking with Eric Fraser about Lucida, the new album from Corvus Lore. It's her second record, out now on Valley of Fire. Let's jump to Blind and Broken, which you released as a video a couple of months ago. And I particularly like, Eric, that transition into the midsection and a completely different thing going on. And the video itself where you guys get wet and dirty.
Yeah, Blind and Broken is a song that Ryan brought in primarily on acoustic. So you'll hear a lot of acoustic guitar kind of driving that song start to finish. And for me personally, I just love that kind of that menacing, rude bass line, which our bass player Mike Onetto kicks off the track. To your point, Mark, we really wanted to represent kind of the duality of good and evil, from, being full of sin to being washed away clean. And yeah, I'm loving that people are picking up on this track and kind of its purpose on the album.
Boxing Ballerina, the very first thing we heard from this album. Again, video treatment for that one too.
Yeah, that song was a initially, the intro riff I kind of wrote and delivered to Ryan, and we kind of fleshed out the basics of the song together and as a band. And that one in particular, we felt really strong about its potential. And the video treatment for boxing really is kind of an homage to Raging Bull. And we filmed it inside of a boxing ring in downtown San Jose with our video director, Mike Sloat, who's been along with us for all three of our videos. And it's about 3 minutes and 30 seconds of just kind of great strident rock riffs.
Up next is the aforementioned Seventh Sense, which I'm really glad you put on the record because it's got that riff and it's darker in tone, and it's also a big favorite of mine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Seventh Sense, that's riff, that intro riff is something that I brought to the band, and we worked out the rest of the song together. What I can tell you about that track is that that intro guitar, it should sound a little bit different because we actually recorded that with Tim Narducci and unfortunately his fallen brother Greg. We used his orange amplifier on that track. And of course we also have a guest appearance from our friend Brad Barth, who plays keyboards on that song as well.
Brad played with Greg, right, previously in Spiral Arms.
Yeah, that's correct. And he is just a secret weapon when it comes to recording over at Audio Voyage in Livermore, because the man is just a super talent and really just kind of takes your tracks to the next level when he can lay down either a Mellotron or a B3, and yeah, we love him.
Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore, my guest. We're talking about Lucida, the new album. Sparrow in the Sun, the acoustic piece. Really catchy again.
Yeah, this song was initially written by our bass player, Mike Onetto, and he brought it to Ryan to kind of finish out the edges and, of course, write all the lyrics and the melodies to it. And that particular track is interesting because it's based on two acoustic guitars, and it's Ryan on one side and me on the other. And we actually did them at different times, so we would get kind of that interplay back and forth to make it sound like, two guys sitting around the campfire.
Calling Jupiter kind of has goth vibes at times.
Yeah, it's Calling Jupiter is actually the song that we have been kicking off our recent shows with. It's a great show starter, and thematically, Ryan Jones, our singer, could probably tell you more about it, but I think initially it was around a man who had been in a coma for 30 years and but still had signs of life. And so that song is just, for me, it's a great way to kind of come out of Sparrow in the Sun and then just kick it into second gear and let you know that we still got some gas in the tank.
And then you wrap it up with Lost in the View.
Yeah, Lost in the View, it's a really heavy song, and thematically is something that Ryan and I wrote together for the most part, and it's done in kind of a 6/8 swing time. The opening chimes are from one of Ryan's family members. That was chimes that he had out of his house. And for us, it's got some layers to it and kind of a darker edge. There's sleigh bells in the bridge section. There's a mellotron. There's piano in it. And I think it's a heavy song, but I thought it was a great way to close the album for Lucida.
You brought up Brad Barth. We talked about him, and there is a prevalence of, again, for nuance, I would suspect, and atmosphere. You're bringing in things like keyboards and piano and things that aren't necessarily there for a 4-piece rock band or a 3-piece rock band with a front man.
You're right, and when we got down to doing the tracking, Tim was very hands-on when it came to the guitar tracking, how many guitars we were going to track. We played around with different types of amplifiers between our Hallbrooks and Vox and Orange amps and a few others. But the band itself has a musical palette that goes back to Zeppelin and Yes and Genesis, and so you want to draw upon those different types of instruments that can really just kind of bring character to a song and add that extra element. So I'm glad that you're picking up on that, and we do love Brad's work on this album.
Talking with Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore, what has been the reaction so far overall to Lucida?
The reaction has been very strong, and what we've heard is that as far as musical progression in terms of like the first album and moving on to the second one, that the writing has gotten a bit more evolved, and I'm just loving hearing which songs people are gravitating towards, and we can't wait to get out there and play more shows and to be able to play hopefully most of the songs that exist on Lucida today.
Eric, if people want to find you and keep in touch and that good stuff, how can they go about doing it?
Yeah, we'd love for people to come out and visit us at corvuslore.com. And that has links to all of our streaming services, our current videos, some nuggets in terms of like videos and photographs. And so, yeah, you can hit us up at corvuslore.com.
Eric, thank you. It's always a pleasure. And I'm just loving this record. It's one of my favorites this year. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
That's Eric Fraser from Corvus Lore. I'm Mark Skaar. This is the Skaar Kaard, the new classic rock that rocks on 103.7 The Fox.